To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so I'm back at the tiny house build again today, and I tell you, I know I say it in just about every video, but I am just so proud of this thing. You know, yesterday I put in the wood stove, and it just sits there as pretty. There's the squeaky screen door. It just sits there as pretty as can be. I just can sit there and imagine. Last night I sat in this chair right here in my lawn chair. I just stared at it. I had a little flashlight, and so I just imagined that wood stove was fired up and flickering light from the wood stove. I mean, I can imagine that, you know, we live off solar panels, so we don't always have lights on, but I can just imagine that fireplace putting out enough light that we really wouldn't need a lot of light in here at night. So today it's turned out a little bit warmer. It's like, what, November 2nd or I guess 3rd? It's election day is what it is. I'm just gonna do some mundane work. I put the OSB up on the ceiling or on the roof the last several days now. And so I didn't tack it down. That way if something went wrong, I could just take it off with a couple screws and replace it or move it or adjust it or do whatever I needed to do. Well, now it's just the mundane work of getting up there and hammering down the OSB with nails, and that's a lot of work. Now, I know I could use a nail gun. A lot of people say, hey, you need to get this kind of equipment, but again, remember, we live off grid. Any type of power tool that I have to use my generator, and my generator is not that powerful. It's only 2,000 watts. And I primarily use it just as a backup system to my solar panels. It can run the saw. The circular saw is about the biggest thing it can run. So if I were to go and say rent a nail gun, then I would have to rent an air compressor, and then I would have to rent a bigger generator. So we're talking a lot of cost. So living off grid and building a tiny house, there's more labor involved. But that's kind of, you know, getting back to basics. It's kind of what it's all about. Also, I have to finish up the overhang. I got to put some OSB on the overhang up here. And then I'm going to put on the house wrap. I'm really hoping I have enough house wrap left. I've done the math and I haven't wasted any. The house wrap looks like this when it's rolled out. I've done the math. I should have enough, but if I don't, you know, there's another 80 bucks. The last time I ordered it, and it took like 3 or 4 weeks to get here through FedEx. FedEx just wouldn't ship it. That means I got to drive 40 miles one way and 40 miles another way from Home Depot to go get it. So there's another, what, $20 in gasoline, $10, $15 in gasoline. Now, what's nice is tonight, here's what's so fun about living off grid. We don't have TV, we have Netflix. We have YouTube, but while the rest of you are going to be watching the election coverage, which is always a very stressful night for me. I remember years ago, I had a job, had to get up in the morning, but I stayed up all night long watching that stupid thing. And then when my guy didn't win, I actually had kind of a really bad dream about the whole thing. But living off grid, you just kind of, I recognize the politics of the world are important. We got to all have worried about our politics. But in the end, I don't have to sit around stressing about it because I don't have any way to stress about it. I've gotten rid of all that stuff. And whatever happens is going to happen. We can't change it. So just as well, enjoy life as long as we can. Build a tiny house as long as we can. And if something happens in our future, then, you know, we'll just have to move on. I've said in previous videos, I'm going to live as free as I possibly can live right here on my piece of property. And when they take it away from me, if they take it away from me, or if they regulate me out, or they make this into an incorporated town or whatever, then I'm going to go and find something else that I can be free somewhere in the world. You know, if I have to travel to the moon, well then, you know what my next project's going to be? Building a spaceship. The lady from Oklahoma comments every day. Linda, she says, I'll be so glad when this stuff is over, I can stop stressing about it. I'm begging you, Linda, stop stressing about it. You do the best you can, and then you move on and try to be as free as possible. And that's what I'm trying to encourage everybody, is find your freedom. Build your tiny house. Find that piece of property where you can build that tiny house without code restrictions. Yeah, it's a lot of work trying to figure out and research. Where can I find a piece of property? I'm asked that all the time. Where can I find a piece of property like you did? Research. I mean, I can tell you, we found it on Facebook Marketplace. But we also found dozens others. Today, I'm going to get started. Okay, so I got one side of the roof nailed down. As you can see, I got a 2x4 here that helps me maneuver around quite a bit. That's temporary. I'll have to take that off as soon as I start putting the house wrap on, of course. But it sure does help out a lot to move around. I try to step on where the rafters are. I'm using thinner material than normal, so I don't want to break the board. It's done really well. I haven't had any problems, but the next step is, after I get the house wrap on, I'm gonna lay 1x4s, just like this 2x4, except it's gonna be a 1x4, along the strip of roof every 2 feet. So 2 feet, well, approximately right here, and then 2 feet, and then all the way up. And the reason I'm gonna do that is so I can put my metal roofing material down. Now, I could run that underneath, also underneath the OSB, but it's easier to do it here, be a lot simpler. And a lot of people don't even use, when they're building buildings and sheds, they don't even use OSB when they're using the metal roofing material. So those who have said that I'm using too thin a material, we originally didn't plan on using OSB at all. We decided to go ahead and do it just because we wanted more structural support. So we bought this thinner OSB than what normal construction workers use. But the plan has always been to use 1x4. So we'll be able to screw the metal roofing into the 1x4s, and it'll give it a lot of meat. Now the 1x4s will be attached to the rafters. So every 2 feet I have a rafter. It'll be good and strong. Plus the metal roofing itself is really strong material. I also took the time to use my reciprocating saw, and I cut some of the branches down. Every time I stand up and I look up at these branches, I get vertigo real bad, or a feeling of vertigo, like I'm gonna fall and lose my balance being this high up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to find some place that can rent me a extension chainsaw. And so I'm just gonna cut these down, every couple of feet. And so when they hit the house, they don't hit so hard that they break anything. And that's what I did with the reciprocating saw. Just every couple of feet, I cut it. So the other day, I don't know, a couple of weeks ago, I came out here and I was patching up all the little spots that I'd missed with my tie-back tape. It's expensive. It's like $16 a roll, but it holds on to everything. I've actually patched a pocket in my jacket so the screws won't fall out with it. When I'm up on the ladder, I try not to carry too much up and down as I go up and down. So if I don't need anything anymore, I'll drop it down to the ground if it's not breakable. So I dropped the tie-back tape into the leaves here. Well, I lost it. I also lost my crowbar. So I was out here looking for several days now, and I haven't been able to find it. And I was so aggravated. It was like a brand new roll. So I told Carolyn, because she comes in here and she sweeps regularly, because I drag in so much dust and leaves and things. And so she comes up here every couple days and sweeps, and I said, if you see that tie-back tape, can you let me know? Put it somewhere where we won't lose it? Yeah, sure. Well, she swept and swept and swept and nothing. So today I was looking for it again and wasted about an hour looking for it because I needed to put the house wrap on the roof. I was patching up over here a little bit, covering up some mistakes I'd made, and jumped down, and right there it sits. I haven't moved it, I haven't touched it. It's because I wanted to show you on video. That's where it was this whole time. I called Carolyn. I said, Carolyn, did you find that tie back tape and didn't let me know? No, why? Where's it at? Sitting right on the floor. Now, how did we miss that? It's right there. She swept, I've kicked around, and it's just very odd. There's no way we missed that. So I'm convinced that our new tiny house has a ghost. I'm sure I saw a ghost because even when I came up to patch up my mistake, I didn't see it on the floor. So it had to be a ghost. I don't know, strange things. I hope I can encourage you to step away from all the stresses of society and live free. Thanks for watching.